Hey, how y'all doing? Today on what do we call this again? WTFtalks.work. Hey, we changed the name and I can't remember it because I'm pretty stupid, but we're super excited today to have Kim Richardson here with us. A friend and a buddy, um, and a partner, a collaborative working partner. We talk about a lot of different things and we work together on things. There's no money changing hands between Kim Richardson and I, unfortunately. I keep trying to get into his pockets and I just can't do it. He's such a cheap bugger. But let me give it to Hannah to introduce the episode and then we'll let Kim talk quick.
All right, he's good at his job because we're giving him money. We're sponsors of an upcoming event we're pretty excited about. So I want to hear a little bit about the Recruiting and Retention Symposium, which we have been massive collaborators on for a long time, and we absolutely love it. And then after we chat about that, we're going to roll into some conversations around family business because as we were coming into the family business, as Brian and Bradley and I were coming into the family business, I know that you were a massive resource for Dave, just because maybe I should call you dad on this specific episode as we're talking about family business. But for
Okay.
dad, as we were kind of coming in and learning from you about what you've done with your kids and through that transition. And then I want to hear a little bit about your public speaking shenanigans as we wrap it all off. But start by telling us about the upcoming symposium. This is what year is this now? This is the fifth? Has there
I think
been
it's
more than that?
I think it's six. Yeah,
Wow,
Yeah.
congratulations. That's exciting.
it's crazy. I do want to hit the rewind button though, because Dave, you have gotten in my pocket. You have supplied us in the past with an outstanding instructor that
Okay.
we reached for, and I believe I'd have to check with Matt, but I think that outstanding instructor is still employed today.
Right?
We
And that's
love to
what we
hear
do.
that.
That's what we love to do is help people get good jobs. And I'm telling you, if you're looking for a driver instructor job, Kim Richardson School is the place to go.
All right,
Mhm.
I love it. Thank you.
But you
That's
guys
that.
had the pleasure of letting Matt and I deal with all of that. So you guys
Right?
just got to keep your buddy field, your friendship, and we got to do all of the boring stuff in the background. But you're absolutely right. We have done that for y'all. So.
Hannah, Matt talked about how seamless, and I think what he said to me was, Kim, because he doesn't call me dad at work. Kim, they come as advertised. So I
Hmm.
think it's a pretty cool statement because I would have said, listen, this is who you need to give a call, and everything worked out. So thank you for that.
Mm.
And I was proud to have my pocket a little lighter during that period of time of need.
Right. Well, we only want to make money when we're adding value to people.
Yeah,
And so that worked out really well for us. So,
Definitely.
but Kim, tell us a little bit about the National Recruiting Retention Symposium. You've been running this for 6 years. We've been sponsors of it, I think, from the beginning. Um, you and I talk a lot about the different names that we give this. I think of it as an event sponsor. You think of it as a platinum sponsor or gold sponsor, or some special dude. I don't know. But we love the NRRS, and I'm so excited about being part of it again this year.
Yeah,
yeah.
was
So initially, and I looked at the postcard, right, because I wanted to get it right. You are listed as the advanced sponsor, but there's only one of them.
That's right.
So whether it's an event or title or whatever you want to call it, I remember us having a conversation the first year that you sponsored and participated, and I think you reached out and said, I want to do more. I want, and you had some ideas, and when we talked, and then you've been our event sponsor ever since. So thank you for that, because quite frankly, without the sponsors, we just can't do it. We could not afford to run this type of event on our own. Impossible. So I
mm,
mean, we're excited. I mean, our team who looks after this entire event, I have very little to do with it other than promote and talk about it. But this year's agenda is incredible, and I'm so excited about our keynote speaker. I can't believe I'm saying I'm excited. Hannah, when I was first approached about them wanting to hire a keynote speaker and they told me how much the keynote was going to be, I said, "Are you crazy?" And then I was convinced to do it, and I'm so glad. I think we've had a paid keynote for 4 years. And this Dr. Kimberly Emerald Ryan, she is from she works with hockey teams, basketball teams, football teams. She's a psychologist. I encourage you to go to her website and see some of the testimonials from Brian Burke and Glenn Sather, and she's going to hit it out of the park. She's going to be amazing, and that's what we kick off with.
What's her
Sure.
name
And
again?
those are household names for you and I, Kim. But Hannah, living
Unfortunately,
in
they don't.
Florida, may not know those guys, but like amazing hockey personalities and guys that have been in the business as general managers and running clubs for a long time. So that level of influence that she's had, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and Hannah, you would appreciate this being in the transportation business and all the other businesses you're involved with. But she's been named the top 100 most powerful woman on that list for a number of years, and I cannot wait to hear her. I reached out to a friend of mine who I'm not going to name, but played in the NHL. He might have been known as a bully or a protector for the Edmonton Oilers, and I just said, "Hey, do you know who this person is?" And he said, "Yeah, she worked with us when I was in Edmonton with the Oilers. And she's a real deal."
Well, that's
Very
cool.
good. That's so
That's
exciting.
cool.
What did you say her name was? Sorry.
Dr. Kimberly Emerald Ryan, hyphen. So Emerald Ryan. All you need to do there, Hannah, is go on to the symposium website and
Oh, I'll
apply
find her.
there. Yeah, but look at her website. I was actually looking at it, trying to see if I could hear someone pronounce her name, which I was unsuccessful. But
Okay.
I think her first last name is Emerald hyphen
Okay.
Ryan.
Sure.
Okay. Well,
Sure.
very exciting. Good for you. It always shows there's quite a difference between a conference who pays for your speakers and a conference who doesn't pay for your speakers. And you can tell when we come and are with you guys because it is a action-filled day of phenomenal people speaking and just so much great content that comes through. Not that you can't get that from people who aren't paid, but professionals are professionals for a reason, and you bring them. So that's
and
really
and
cool.
Well,
bal- and balancing that with industry pros
Yeah.
that don't have the same um stage presence but have so much knowledge for the people to glean from is really valuable too.
Yeah.
And you've done a
we've
nice job of balancing that.
we've been lucky that way, Dave, and you've been in the business for quite a while, and we really leverage our relationships. And you and I have often talked about relationship business and how important it is to develop those relationships and friendships. But I have a question for you too, because you sponsor so many different things, you go to so many different conferences, and there's this opinion from both sides of the fence about organizations who pay for a keynote speaker and organizations who don't. There's some very strong opinions from people who say we'll never pay for a keynote. We won't mention any names there. But there's also the thought that the keynote should be at the start, the keynote should be in the middle, the keynote should be at the end. What's your guys' opinion?
You go first.
Start start off
I'm
with a
end.
bang.
I'm
You're at the
end.
end.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I
It
think
holds
that
attendance.
it holds attendance and that's what everybody's there for. And so I think it's probably a benefit to every other speaker on your roster to hold the keynote speaker to the very last slot. It's more respectful to them, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
I wonder what it would be like if you had a lesser known or lesser priced keynote at the start, and finish with your headliner. But like if you paid on both of those things, and then the middle content whole is the day for the people, but they'll show up for the paid speakers, so you get them for the whole day. I don't know.
There's
So,
not God.
so I've been to all those different conferences through our industry, and I've heard them in different times. But I'll tell you what was a kicker for me, and it was our friend Kelly Anderson on the East Coast there,
Yep.
Trucking Resource Sector Council. Atlantic Canada. Um, they always have their keynote at the start. And so I attended one that their keynote was at the start. And she said the reason why they do is because they want to get the crowd excited. They want to get people pumped up. And then the rest of the day, everybody just seems to be charged. And it raises the level of the others. That
Reps
was
and
her comment.
sessions.
I believe that that's her comment. She also loves to go to a Blue Jays game when she's in Toronto. So I think that she wants the keynote speaker up front, and that's her personal layout of how she likes to attend events. So that might be how she sets them up. Love her. So much respect for her, without a doubt. But she's left a couple of my presentations before to go watch a Blue Jays game, which as she should. She's paid her very own way for one of them before, so she doesn't need to sit and listen. But it could be that. But anyways,
Kelly's a great lady. We love her and what she's giving back to the industry. That's a really cool thing and a fun note that she's chasing Blue Jays games. That's so cool.
absolutely. But we wanted to talk to you a little bit about family business. And I don't want our time to get away before we start chatting about that because, man, oh man, I'm pretty excited. So, when we first started coming into the family business, Brian and Bradley and I, what were the conversations between you and Dave like? Because I know that he reached out to you quite a couple times to be like, how do I do this? What is going on? Was it what rules do you follow? Is it a good idea? Was it how did you do it? What did those chats kind of sound like originally?
Geez, Dave and I have a little bit of a code. Dave, can I break the code?
Yeah, go ahead. You just with Hannah and I, it's not this. Nobody's, it's
No
just
one's
between the three
watching.
of us
40,000 followers.
and the internet.
Yeah. Did you want to say something, Dave, before you go?
No, I'm good. Go. You're free of all restraints.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's so unique because, we're both in the transportation industry. I think this industry is full of family business, but on the trucking side, the service side is different. And I'm a firm believer of that. Now I think those optics are changing a little bit, but we're suppliers and service providers to the industry. We both are. So our job is to get in front of people. And boy, um, Dave and Kim worked really hard at building those relationships early on. The nurturing, the lunches, the dinners, the conferences, and now all of a sudden we have siblings coming in that, geez, I hope they don't screw this up. Those were some of the conversations, right? And it's, oh, geez, you can't go to that meeting on your own, can you? But I was very fortunate to have a business coach. About the same time, I mean, my my young adults, my kids will tell you that they've been in the business since they were. Matt will tell you since he was old enough to scrub a truck, and Jamie old enough to lick an envelope. Um, I just call that free labor. So sorry to the feds. Um, but and I'd be babysitting, Lisa babysitting. I'd be watching the kids. Lisa would be doing what she needs to do, and I'd take the kids to work. Right. So what better way to keep them busy than give them something to do? But we have very specific rules. We follow them. I think Matt and Jamie would both tell you that they appreciate those rules. One of the rules is there's no shop talk after hours. So to give you an example of that, I would not call one of my teammates who are not family at 7 o'clock and say, "Hey, what happened at that meeting today?" Unless it was an emergency, and that's how the conversation always starts out. It's, "Hey Kim, I need to talk to you about something with work, and we can move on." But it happens very seldom.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm not so good at that. I call all of my staff at 7 o'clock at night or text them on Sunday morning. Um, I routinely get emails from my managers, not family, on Saturdays and Sundays. I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I have no life balance.
But to give you the credit where it is due, you are trying desperately to transition to the correct platforms. You have made this transition in the last little while to you will call my cell phone at 7, but you will call my Microsoft Teams number um, from sorry, you if you were calling me not about personal stuff, but about work after work hours, you would call my work number, not my personal number. But you do call my personal number all afternoon,
all day
all
for
day,
business
every
as well.
day for business as well. So we're still working on it, but we are getting better.
Yeah, there's a balance to the whole thing for sure.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, we're far from perfect. I mean, I'm not going to say it's gospel, but you know, we the mom and dad thing. You know, Lisa's involved in our business. Lisa spends 90% of her time from the home office, so she's not in the trenches. She is, but from afar. But I'm Kim at work. I'm not dad. I'm Kim, and that's a rule. I try not to call him Chopper, but I do quite frequently. That's his childhood nickname that has been with him since he was a little boy. And the same with Jamie. Um, but there is that tremendous amount of, I don't know what I call them. I would just call it, respect is not the right word. We have processes that we try to follow.
Okay.
I think
Yeah, but
processes are,
those processes are built on a mutual respect for time and attention, right? Like it's so for me, it's like one, Rhonda's beating this into me. Like she just won't like Rhonda will walk into a room if I'm talking with one of the kids outside of business hours about business, she'll walk out. And you know me, Kim, I want nothing more than to have my wife in my presence and to be with her. And so I'll like, hey, wait, I can stop that. Or she'll come and give me the sign, or more likely the sigh, that says stop it. Um, and I need those cues. I need those cues. And she's generous in the way she gives them. She's not hurtful. She's not like there's none of malice or anger in it. It's just like, dude, get yourself together. Um, and so I've been trying to work on that a lot. And when we're doing the stuff in Florida, and like for the first year, Hannah was living with us in Florida and working with us, and that's a lot. That's a lot. And Brian and Bradley have been, here for weeks at a time, and it's a lot. Um, so just trying to manage those things and give people their space. Um, and it's hard when you're a person who doesn't really shut down. I
That's
wish I
interesting.
had hobbies.
and I'm like that too, Dave. I sometimes, work Saturdays, Sundays. That's my choice. I'm really good at, and people will debate this with me. I'm really good with my time management skills. I get a ton of stuff done. But what's resonating with me is the line, is now a good time. I constantly find myself asking not only Matt and Jamie, but people, more so Matt and Jamie, is now a good time?
Hmm. That's a really
Because
good
you're
question.
busy, man. And Hannah,
Yeah.
you're busy. I
Yeah.
don't like using that word either. Only Branson should be able to use that word. He's got 105 businesses. We're all productive. So
Mm, I
respecting
like
people's time
that.
is critical.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And it all
Definitely.
comes back to that respect issue, I think. I really do think it's caring for the people more, than anything else. It's just how you really care for people. So,
Yeah.
so tell us a little bit more about like the dynamic. Like Jamie's been working remote for a long time, maybe forever. Um, how do you, so one, as a dad, like how do you live that far away from your daughter? Like I recognize it was a decision she made and she didn't consult you probably on it. It was like you weren't part of the consideration, but like, gosh, man, that's hard.
So I think it's been 12 years, or maybe 13. But her husband, my son-in-law Dusty, he was transferred with Ontario Power.
Mm.
Great job, mechanical engineer. I don't know what his official title is. He's got a pretty cool job. But I mean, they wanted to go north, both of them. They're both hunters, fishers. I got pictures of Jamie holding fish, and she's got a pink shotgun and all that kind of great stuff. But they wanted to go north. To answer your question, um, we've found a way to make it work, but it's very structured. So Tuesday at 10 a.m. is a transrep call, right? Monday at 10 a.m. is NRS calls. And then Jamie, if we're working on talent acquisition, or if we're working on other stuff that Transrep does, we're text away.
Sure.
Today was a prime example. I was on a call with a customer, a partner, and our 10 o'clock Transrep call got bumped. Not on purpose. It had to be, but she understands. And it was like, nothing important. We can get caught up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Structure. It's one word. How do we do it? Structure.
Good for you. Good for you. Hannah and I are not so structured. Um, I would say that I am Hannah's biggest time waster in business.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
Yeah, you came back from vacation last week. I called you this like on Monday morning at like 8:30 and I was like, my work BFF is back. I'm so excited. But it is bad. We do need to control how much time that we waste speaking with
right.
one another.
But you know what? That's not a bad thing. That's one of the greatest attributes of being in family business. And our team, they're the bearers of this. I'll give you an example. We'll start a call at 9 o'clock. In the first 15 minutes, we talk about the weekend's hockey games, or we talk about family. Now we include the other teammates, but that's so important. But this family thing, when your other people that are you surround yourself with, when they see that connection, you know, one thing I've learned about family business, you can have the biggest knockdown, drag them out, argument, shove this place, all that sort of great stuff. But for a fact, come Monday, there's not going to be an envelope on your desk.
Mm.
They're in. They're in. They're family. They're in. And not that we could ever take advantage, or should we, Dave, of
Right.
that relationship. I mean, there's a big picture here for our siblings.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to just in that lane because we do something, we have family meetings once a quarter. And every time that we have our family meeting, we say, does anybody need out? Like, how are you all doing? Do any of you need 90 days to out? And is there anything that we can do to help you? Because Dave's been very clear. He's like, love that you're here, want to keep you as long, but will not shackle you to a desk. And so you've been really intentional about asking us that every single time. How have you dealt with that kind of in the past? You said that it's been 12 years now that Jamie's been there. How long has Matt been with you?
Not as
Since he
long.
was 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he went to university, spent 6 years, did the long program because he was a football player. But he every year that he came back from university, he did something different in the business, and that was structured. So one year he was an accounts payable and receivable. One year he got all of his licenses. He took every course we had to offer. He was in sale, and that was all structured so that because he knew. So there was one. Lisa and I wanted him to go to Europe to play football because he had some offerings, and as well as in the CFL. But he wanted to move on, and the other option that he had was to go and spend some time with my mentor, Harry Kowalchuk Jr. from National Tractor Trailer School in Liverpool, New York, to go and spend a couple months with him,
Mm.
Mm.
which I really wanted him to do. But he was ready. He was like, listen, I'm ready to go, man. Um, I'm not sure what the question was because I automatically went to.
You're good. We were just talking about how you never want to chain and shackle your kids through, but you want to give them the freedom. So how do you kind of like give them the freedom to do what they want to do while also still being so thankful that they are that dedicated and you're not going to get that letter on your desk Monday morning?
So there's obviously goals, objectives that they must hit, and that they're measured 30, 60, 90, 120. But the other thing is checking in. I'm just checking in. I'd love to have a $10 bill for every time I said to Jamie and Matt, just checking in. You know,
Mhm.
how's with work? And you know, I remember Matt at a conference on stage one time saying, I absolutely love what I do. So I constantly or regularly say to Matt, do you still love what you do?
Mm.
Or I'll say to Jamie, is this where you want to be and are you doing what you want to do? And more importantly, um, we have a plan. We have a succession plan, so they know.
Right.
Um, Now, will that happen? You hope so.
Right.
Is it could it change? Is it carved in stone? Hey, listen, nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
Sure.
Mhm. Yeah, I like
Sure.
that. Just consistent check-ins. It's just nature of keeping the conversation flowing.
Yeah. And that 90-day family meeting is, you know, we've been doing that for a little over a year now, and I just think it's healthy to give people options. Um,
How long does
and
that last, Dave? That family meeting? Like, is it like a
Two
2 hour,
to
3 hour?
2 to 3 hours kind of depends on what we're talking about.
yeah, and
Interesting.
it
Love
spans
it.
the whole scope of business and personal. Like we can't contain the conversation, and that's why we
Mhm.
need such an open-ended timeline on it. It's typically over a meal, and I make sure that Rhonda's there because I need her to hear and understand and translate for me what she's seeing in the kids' faces as I'm asking questions or saying stuff.
Yeah. Rhonda
So
can read a human like nobody I've ever met. She's great at that.
she's a human lie detector.
Yeah.
She's such a wonderful human being, as is, you know, Lisa. I mean, I often refer to Lisa as a compass. But I will tell you, it's no fun. It's no fun working for your old man sometimes. I
You have
get
some
that.
stories about that you want to share?
Oh, hey, listen, I think it goes back to, you know, back when I was coaching minor hockey. You know, I was probably the hardest on Matt than anybody on the team. And it's no different. I wouldn't say it. It's a lot working for your parents, and there's a lot of expectations, especially when you get outside the walls.
Mm.
You know, um I relish the day that Hannah is not referred to, oh, this is Dave's daughter. Maybe that's already happened because you're carving your own way in the industry, your speaking engagements, your books. And yeah, are you leveraging or the opportunity to leverage some of the relationships that have been built through the Better Together group? Absolutely. But are you earning your own stripes? 100%. So kudos.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a lot of fun. You're right. It's taking advantage of the situation that you find yourself in. So obviously trying to take every door that has been opened for me, and my goodness, there's been a lot of them because I am Dave's daughter. But I think that it also has given me the opportunity to just be Hannah and to get up there and walk through those doors as myself, which has been really nice. And I'm seeing you do the exact same thing for Matt and Jamie. Had they always intended to come into the family business? Was that a part of the succession plan, or did that just happen by nature? Or how did that all go down?
Yeah. So, like you, Jamie was an accomplished athlete. And, you know, her goal was to compete in the Olympics. And
A horseback rider?
yeah,
Okay,
equestrian, upper. So that's
equestrian.
great. But I'll share this with you. You can find it on our website. There's a video on there. And Jamie talks about it. She gets teary eyed. Apparently, there might be a bet on this show. Um, she gets teary eyed when she talks about it because she talks about the guidance counselor in grade 10 saying, what are you going to do with your life? And she says, I'm going to go to work for my parents. I'm going to go work with my parents in grade 10. And the guidance counselor said, why is that? She says, because I can't imagine doing anything else.
Mm.
Hmm.
Right. So I think it's never been an expectation, but the opportunity has been there if they're willing to put in the time and effort. I mean, yeah, there's responsibilities that, and they're big responsibilities. You know this.
Yeah, there's something to be said about playing on your parents' name and the pressure that comes with that and the responsibility behind using them. So it's not just sunshine and rainbows to come and work for your parents' business, that's for
No,
sure.
well, and honestly, I feel like currently all three of my kids are underpaid. Maybe all of my staff are underpaid. But like I feel like in the marketplace, they could all harvest better than they can in our company, but they have such a lifetime investment that it'll all equal out over time. And so I really try hard to pay them as close to market as I can get, but it's getting difficult. It's getting difficult because they're exceeding the skills of the roles that they're in. And so sometimes the size scope of the business or opportunities that present themselves to them in the business are like, oh man, I like there's so much more potential. Like I think about Brian and just like he's so good at following through and getting stuff done. And like honestly, my son Brian has just been this shadow in the backdrop that keeps our business running very well and with no accolades and no leadership around him. And um, Hannah gets thrust to the forefront, and Brian and Bradley are these wallflowers dancing in the back, holding the whole thing together.
Hmm.
Love it.
So,
Yeah.
And Jamie and Matt, they don't work together all the time. So, Jamie is, her focus is trans rep, vice president of business development. She is very important to that business. But we can pull her in because she's been in customer service, she's been in sales. She's helped us grow our business partnerships with our carrier-based schools. She knows the school business, um, and she could sell.
my bad. Yeah, for sure.
She can sell.
I've been in the room
Yeah,
with her.
yeah, and
So,
I mean, so we can integrate when needed. But make no mistake, Matt runs a school business, and we're there to assist him. I find that I'm far less active and more as an advisor, and I get it. Not as often as I'd like to say, but I get it where it's like, hey, what do you think of this? But I mean, I keep a close eye on things as well. I get
sure.
the reports. I talk to people. All I have to do is go for a stroll, right, and ask a few questions, and I can learn quite a bit in a short period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny, like you live in a small town, Kim, and you love your small town community. I feel like you're the mayor of really every room that you walk into. Like you're just that guy that knows everybody and is shaking hands, and people are like lining up to talk to Kim Richardson.
I'd second that for sure.
That's kind of you to say, but I don't certainly don't look at myself that way. I embrace the friendships that we've been able to develop over the years. I mean, true friendships. You know, there's a lot of friendships because of transactions,
Hmm.
and those friendships disappear when the transactions disappear. But Dave, I think you said it best up front. Um, we've been friends a long time, and I'm very proud to be able to call you a friend, which makes your family friends. But I can remember the first day we met, like it was yesterday, and that's important
It was
because
at a
that,
recruiting and retention seminar.
yeah, and you had cigars. You did your research.
I was a
Wait,
new guy on the block. I had to bring something.
I'm sorry. There's no way that that was at the recruiting and retention seminar because you just said that this is the sixth one, but
Somebody
Hundred
else's.
years.
got it. I was gonna say I was like Kim, I've known
Yeah.
you for more than 10 years, so there's no way this was just 6 years ago.
Oh, no, this was another event that was held for a few years, really well run.
Oh six, oh seven, oh eight.
Okay.
It was a while ago, but at any rate, I think that when we talk about, we've talked about this often, Dave, and I think that it's important that key members of your team, especially when you're a family business, know your word is everything. Um, Sometimes we'll say no to business because we know we're not going to be able to deliver the quality service that our customers accustomed to. And I think that that's really important when your family understands that it's not all about dollars and cents.
Oh, I
Mm.
totally agree. Kim, I just put a post on LinkedIn today about how to fire a client. Would you make sure that you go and put your vote in, but also comment? I'd really love to hear your thoughts on it.
I was just about
Okay.
to say that, but I didn't bring it back because I was like, he's talking about saying no because they're too busy. We're talking about firing client, very different things, but I almost brought that up.
No, you know what? I've fired clients 100%. And you know what? My grandpa, God bless him, he put the water in this building in
Wow.
downtown Caledonia. I remember him when I was far too young to even understand what he was saying, but you landed when you're able to let go of a client. You're not there. It's not, you got to have the same values. You have to have the same, you got to have the same goals and objectives. I mean, yeah, yeah, I don't want to swear, but you don't want to deal with those people. And I think what you're really doing is you're also setting the stage for what your tolerance is for who you're going to do business with. I mean, what do they ask you, Dave? How much? Here's the price I want. Here's what so and so charges me. You're not in that game
Yeah.
because you're up here.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. It's really hard. Like this is a real question in our business right now. We just had somebody come to us and say they wanted us to drop our markup. Um,
Don't even say it. Can't even bring
no,
light
no,
to
but I
that.
just want to use it as a percentage, and so it would be like 70%. They want a discount of 70%.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like,
Have a good day.
no, no, I
Have a
really
good
tried
day.
to engage him in conversation and thoughtfulness. And I said to him, I said, that would leave me X, $1 or $1.06 or something per hour. And I'm creating a liability shield for you and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, do you really want to do business with people like that? Like, how good of a liability shield do you think they are? Um, and so,
We lost one of our biggest customers for 1 year, and they beat us up on price. They said we'll give it to you for this because so and so will do it for this, and we said have a good day. And we said you're not going to be happy and you're going to be bad. 1 year later, they came back and we tacked on an aggravation fee. So their price not only went up, it went up again just in case.
right,
Mm.
And
right.
and you know what? We still have that customer today. I won't tell you who it is.
That's fine.
They're
I know,
very
I totally get that. The
Uh,
the frustration is that there are some companies that rip, and this is what it comes down to for me. It's really a moral issue. Is to me, if people say or think, I don't care what you pay the employee, what all I need to know is your bill rate,
yep.
I'm done with you.
yeah.
It's like if it's purely transactional and it's only about the dollars, then you're not the kind of company that I'm prepared to deal with because you're not going to respect my work. We're in this business to feed families one shift at a time. And if you're going to treat my people that go to work for you, like they're widgets and not like they're human beings, I have no time for you and no respect for you. And I need to move on from this comment or I'm going to really blow up.
Which is
So,
great
Why we're
because we
friends.
actually We actually only have a couple minutes before we told Kim that we would let him go, but I also told the viewers a little bit about what we were going to talk about, so I want to make sure that we touch on everything before we end it. So I told them that we would talk a little bit about the family rules that you have for your family, and we heard the one about, okay, after the hours, unless it's an emergency, you're not getting called. Are there any other rules that you guys have that you follow kind of regularly that you would suggest to any other family businesses that have worked well for you or stuff that you've tried that you were like, we had that and then we ditched it because it was so bad?
Oh my goodness. We don't have enough time. If I had to pick a couple of them, and I don't like to call them rules, you
Okay.
know, they're mutual expectation agreements.
Okay.
They're mutual expectation agreements, and you know, I can see the chart in the middle and how we address them. But at the end of the day, what's important for our family to remember is that they are also teammates and associates, and everybody's watching.
Mm.
Everybody's watching to see what's going on. So, you know, um, when you're by yourself and you're making a decision, pretend like the entire team is watching. You know,
Mm.
when it's garbage day, which is Thursday at 4 o'clock, be the first to grab the garbage pail. Don't wait to see staff, teammates. I don't like the word staff. You know, set an example. Um, you know, I've often said on the bottom of your business card, it should not read your title. It should read whatever it takes. So whatever it takes to make this business successful, we're going to do it. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, you know, there's no hierarchy. We're all in this together. You know, that cog and the clock, right? And that's really, really important for our teammates and our kids, our young adults to remember. I mean, these are Matt's in his 30s, Jamie's in her 30s. They're teaching me things. And Hannah, I would bet a lot of money that you're teaching Dave some things too. So keep doing what you're doing.
So much.
Thank you. Thank you. But as where I like that, and you're right, everybody is watching. Everybody's always watching. And that will be the title of today's episode. But we also told you that we would give you just a little bit of time to talk about some of the presentations that you're doing. Because, my gosh, I mean, I got to hear at least your mentorship one, which of course falls in line with this last year at the oh my goodness,
PMTC.
I always say them wrong. Thank you.
PMTC.
PMTC.
PMPC. And yeah, and we got to watch that. But you've been doing a bunch of that recently. When did you start kind of doing the speaking? How did that come to be?
Oh, you're gonna love this. I launched 2 months before COVID.
Good timing.
Oh
Oh,
no.
that's a great strategy. But you know what? I'm going to turn this around, Hannah. I'm sorry. You know, I was fortunate enough to have the schedule changed a little bit when we were speaking, you and I, and they bumped me ahead of you, and our two conversations went together like a handshake. But I want to share with the entire audience because you will never say this. When the results come out, you were the number one speaker for all of the speakers at the PMTC last year. So I'm pretty happy to tell the audience that.
Thank
So
you.
keep that.
Oh,
I've been focusing a lot on mentorship. Just spoke with the young leaders with the Private Motor Truck Council of Canada. Um, I really like talking about entrepreneurship. I got a couple gigs coming up. Um, my goal is to do 10 a year. And when I say my goal, that's the cap, right? And
okay.
I'm, yeah, that's the cap. And so I have a suite of different presentations that are online on the website at TrendTrap. Have a look if I can help out in any way. I'm available sometimes because I am somewhat retired.
Are you?
Yeah. Thursday, Friday afternoons.
For 2 hours. For the average
And I
person who
think he's
used
I
to
think
stop at
he's on the
7.
24 weeks vacation plan.
100 days a year. That's the goal.
100 days.
Good for
Yeah, 100
you.
days. So Lisa and
Weekends not
I,
included.
yeah, but I'm still working. So I'm going to Australia and for work, uh, first week in April, and then we're going on a little trip. But I'm not putting it out of office
Hmm.
because I'll still be working because not because I have to, it's because I want to.
Sure.
So
Sure.
what's the difference between, because you're also the one who talks about leaving your phone when you do put your out of office, leaving your computer, leaving everything, right? So how do you separate the difference between when you're actually taking vacation and when you're just working away?
So that has to be planned, right?
Okay.
And that means I'm going off the grid. So I will go off the grid in August, and you will not be able to get a hold of me. There'll be an out of office reply that says this is who you call.
I'm at the
And
fish
not to be
camp.
disrespectful, but that's the greatest.
For sure. That's amazing for you to have the freedom and the availability to do that.
I've
That's
never done that.
fantastic.
I've never done
You
that.
will. You will. It's a good
Um,
feeling. And I can't thank you guys enough. This has just buzzed by, and I just so appreciate both of you.
It
yeah,
has been so
thanks,
much
Kim.
fun.
I want everyone to know that I won the bet. I didn't cry. But we didn't talk about your dad. You didn't cry, so that worked out okay for us. We did commit to keeping this to 30 minutes, and I just saw we hit a full hour. So,
Are you serious?
yes,
That's how long we've been on the phone with each other. We had about 20 before we started recording, just because we
oh,
love
okay.
to
So,
chat.
oh, if we've
So
only
it's
kept it to
okay.
40, that's pretty reasonable for us.
Yes, it is.
That's under the over bet on what this time would have been.
But this has been fantastic. Thank you for joining us. We'll be very excited to get this out to the listeners, and I think that people are pretty interested in the concept of family business, what it looks like behind the curtain, and just kind of learn a little bit about it. And I think that from the both of you, people will be very interested as well. So, thanks for giving us a great episode and joining us. And we are so excited to see you this spring for your recruiting and retention seminar. So,
Yeah, it's going to be great. Looking forward to it. Note in the backdrop, Kim has family pictures all through his backdrop. His dad is back there. His whole family with grandkids is back there. This man's about family, and his business is there to support the community, to support his family, and to give back to an industry that's really treated him well. And we believe in all those same things. So, Kim, so much a joy to visit with you as always. Thanks so much for joining us.
have a
Thank
great day,
you.
everybody. Bye.